Pleasant day, everyone. We are the Group 6 and we are here to continue the discussion by Group 5, and the topic it's all about is subject and content art. And now we have the topic overview. First one is the methods of presenting art subject, forms of abstractions, and theater. So before we proceed for our topic for today, let's have the lesson objectives. The first one is to classify artworks based on the method used, differentiate the forms of abstractions, and discuss the theater by comparing the different theatrical styles and techniques.
So good day everyone, I'm Ysa Eunice Dacula, and today we will be tackling about methods of presenting art subject. Methods of presenting art subject. So this refers to different ways artists express ideas and emotions visually. These approaches shape how viewers interpret and connect with the artwork. They are important because they allow creativity, evoke emotions, and offer new perspectives, making art more meaningful and engaging. So here are creative approaches to present art subject. The first one is realism, wherein it captures subjects as they appear in real life, without idealization or distortion, presenting details in an accurate and truthful manner. So the goal is to mirror reality as closely as possible. So realism emphasizes accurate representation, making the viewer feel as if they are observing the subject firsthand. An example of realism is Jean-François Millet's The Gleaners, 1857. So this painting depicts peasant women working in the field with natural colors and realistic details. So as you can see, the artist focused on proportion, perspective, and texture to bring authenticity to their work, and considering that realism is used in portrait painting, historical scenes, and documentary photography. Second approach, abstraction, wherein it transforms reality into simplified shapes, colors, and forms, allowing artists to convey emotion and ideas rather than literal depictions. So, artists in this kind of approach rearrange and exaggerate elements instead of depicting real world imagery. An example of abstraction, Vasily Kandinsky's Circle in a Circle, 1920. So this painting is an abstract composition that emphasizes geometric precision and spiritual symbolism through overlapping. So abstract art is often bold, symbolic, and highly interpretative. So it can express deep emotions or intellectual concepts using non-realistic forms. Third approach, symbolism. It uses imagery to represent deeper meanings, emotions, or philosophies, creating artwork that convey messages beyond its physical form. So artists in this kind of approach use icons, colors, and imagery to create layers of meaning. Edvard Munch's The Scream, 1893, is an example of symbolism as it captures existential dread, depicting a figure overwhelmed by an intense emotional experience inspired by a moment of anxiety he felt while walking at the sunset. So there are different symbols that can be included in symbolism. So the common ones are animals, colors, religious objects, and mythological elements. Nonetheless, the interpretation of symbolism varies depending on context and viewer perspective. The fourth one, Fauvism, features bold, vivid colors and expressive brushwork, focusing on spontaneous emotion rather than realistic representation. However, Fauvist artists did not follow color realism. For instance, trees could be red instead of green, ocean can be yellow instead of blue. Landscape Nurture 2, 1904, of André Duron is an example of Fauvism, as it reflects early Fauvist experimentation with bold colors and simplified forms that emphasize movement and energy rather than realistic representation. So, this style is energetic, passionate, and full of movement, and colors were chosen based on emotional impact rather than real-world appearance. So that is all for my part. Thank you so much, everyone.
So for the next method of presenting art as a subject is the Dadaism. The Dadaism emerged in Zurich, Switzerland during World War I as a response to the chaos and destruction caused by the war. The movement rejected traditional art forms, logic, reasoning, and emphasizing instead of chaos, randomness, and absurdity. Daddies sought to challenge societal norms and conventions, questioning the very notion of what constitutes art. So the key characteristics of this method is it is anti-stance. The Daddies reject traditional art forms and the notion of art as a commodity. The second is use of found objects and collage. So artists use everyday objects and materials to create art. And lastly, satire and societal commentary. So daddies are often incorporate satire and social commentary, critiquing the societal norms and conventions of the time. So the notable artist for this method is Marcel Duchamp. He's known for his ready madness. So Duchamp challenged traditional notions of art by presenting everyday objects as art. So an example of that is art is the fountain made by Marcel Duchamp on 1917. So it's a urinal sign, the R mot challenging traditional notions of art. So next is the Futurism. Futurism emerged in the Italy in the early 20th century, celebrating the machine age, speed, and violence. Futurists emphasize dynamism, energy, and movement, glorifying the modern world and the power of technology. So the key characteristics of this method is it emphasizes on technology and industry. Futurists celebrate the modern world and the power of technology. The next is its glorifying of war and violence. Futurists saw war and violence as necessary for societal progress and renewal. And lastly, use of abstract forms and dynamic composition. Futurist art often featured abstract forms and dynamic compositions, capturing the energy and movement of modern life. So the notable artist for this method is Umberto Boccioni, a leading figure in Futurism. Boccioni's art captured the dynamism and energy of modern life. So, an example of futurist art is the City Rises, made by Umberto Boccioni's at 1910, a painting capturing the energy and dynamism of modern city life. Moving on, we have the Surrealism. Surrealism emerged in the 1920s, exploring the subconscious, dreams, and the irrational. Surrealists combined realistic images and fantastical elements, blurring the line between reality and fantasy. So the key characteristics of this method is exploration of the subconscious and dreams. So surrealists explored the subconscious and dreams, often using automatism and spontaneous creativity. Next is the use of automatism and spontaneous creativity. So, surrealists use automatism and spontaneous creativity to tap into the subconscious and create innovative art. And lastly, it's blending of reality and fantasy. So, surrealists are art often featured realistic images combined with fantastical elements, blurring the line between reality and fantasy. So the notable artist for this method is Salvador Dali, known for his striking and bizarre images. Dali's art often featured realistic images combined with fantastical elements. And his art was named The Persistence of Memory, made at 1931. It is a painting featuring melting clocks and bizarre images, exploring the subconscious and dreams. And for our last method, we have the Impressionism. Impressionism emerged in France in the late 19th century, focusing on capturing light and color in outdoor settings. Impressionists emphasized everyday life and modernity, often featuring modern cityscapes and landscapes. So the key characteristics of this method is it emphasizes on light and color. Impressionists captured the fleeting effects of light and color in outdoor settings. Next is use of short, broken brushstrokes. Impressionist art often featured short, broken brushstrokes capturing the movement of and energy of modern life. And lastly, focus on capturing modern life and urban landscapes. Impressionists often featured modern cityscapes and landscapes capturing the essence of modern life. So the notable artist for this method is Claude Monet, a leading figure in Impressionism. Monet's art captured fleeting effects of light and color in outdoor settings. So the most famous art of Claude Monet is the Impression Sunrise. He made it at 1872. It is a painting capturing the fleeting effects of light and color in an outdoor setting.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ysaphea here. Now we'll be discussing the different forms of obstruction. But first, let us have a quick definition of what is obstruction is all about. From the previous slides, we have learned that abstraction transforms reality into simplified shapes, colors, and forms, allowing artists to convey emotion and ideas rather than literal depictions. So, in addition, abstraction does not attempt to represent an accurate of a visual reality, but rather it is simply an artistic expression. Now, let's take a look in this example of Pablo Picasso's Guernica, where the illustration clearly illustrate an abstract, where the artistic expression of the artist is most important in this illustration. Now, to move on, let us have the discussion about the several ways to present art subjects to abstraction. So, number one is the factual meaning. So, this refers to the literal statement of the work because of the recognizable figures or images. It means that the abstract focuses on what is physically or realistically represented in the artwork. Now, let's take a look in the example. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is one of the artwork that is easy to distinguish the functional meaning, which is the physical representation of the art. So if we take a look or analyze the artwork in the slide, the factual meaning of the Last Supper is that Jesus is at the center of the table having his supper with other men or with the 12 apostles. The second form of abstraction is the conventional meaning, which refers to the special meaning that a figure, color, line, or image has to a specific group or culture. So, one of the examples of conventional meaning in artwork is the usage of religious symbols such as the cross, the crescent moon, or the lotus flower for the religions Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. So some artists also uses color symbolism to represent emotions, or passion. Fernando Amorsolo's artwork of making of the Philippine flag is one of the clear depiction of conventional meaning wherein the artwork serves as a reminder of the Philippine flag's creation and the importance of national identity, honoring the women who sewed the first flag and the significance of Philippine independence.
Subjective meaning in abstract art refers to personal and individual interpretations viewers bring to a work. Unlike conventional meaning, which relies on established cultural and artistic codes, subjective meaning is unique each viewer and shaped by their backgrounds, experience, emotions, and perspective. For example, consider an abstract painting which had lines and bright colors. One viewer might see it as representing the chaos and energy of the city, and another might be interpret it as depictions of inner emotional intensity, and the third might simplify it aesthetic pleasing, connecting with the colors and forms of theory sensory level. All of these interpretations are valid, subjective meaning. The artist might be have a specific intention, but the artwork's open-ended nature allows for the wide range of personal responses. The subjective meaning is what the viewer finds in the art rather than what the artist explicitly put into it. This individual response is crucial to the experience of abstract art as it emphasizes the active role of the viewer and the completing the artistic communication. The art acts of stimulus and the viewer's subjective interpretation in the creative response. To create abstract art, it should be have the three forms of abstraction, which is the functional, conventional, and subjective. For example of abstract art, let's have Michelangelo painting, which is the creations of Adam, a fresco painting forming part of Sistine Chapel ceiling in Vatican, painted between 1508 and 1512. The creation of Adam is the most famous scenes from the book of Genesis. So Michelangelo initially the sculpture, which is revolutionized fresco painting techniques impacted the artistic styles for centuries. The artwork impact went beyond its religious context. It became the symbol of human creativity and power of artistic representation. So let's analyze this one. Let's go first to the functional meaning. The painting is primary functional meaning was religious. It is served as an illustrate key of biblical narrative within space dedicated to religious worship. It was intended to inspire and devotions in viewers, reinforcing the church's authority and the power of the God. When it comes to conventional meaning, the painting draws on established conventional meaning associated with the religious imagery. The despite depictions of us powerful, majestic, and figures surrounded by the angels in common visual convention in Christian art. So the subject meaning, despite it is clear religious functions, the creation of the Adams also opens itself to numerous subjective interpretations. The viewer might focus on the emotional intensity of the moment and the anticipated power and the mystery of creations, and so on. The symbol of meaning of touch, interpretation range, and literary and political. That's every people can be have individual view where brings to the art based on their personal experience, beliefs, and understanding of the world.
Good day everyone, I am Rochelle Malimban and now I will tackle about the theater. Theater is a form of performing art that involves live performers, typically actors, presenting a story in front of an audience. It is a collaborative art form that combines speech, gesture, music, dance, and visual spectacle to convey meaning and emotion. At its core, theater is storytelling brought to life through performance. So this report explored theater as a powerful culture and artistic medium. It is focused on its historical development, its key element, and its continuing relevance in society today. Theater has played a vital role in shaping and reflecting human culture throughout history. As both entertainment and social commentary, it provides insight into societal values, challenges norms, and offers a space for artistic innovation. So let's proceed to the history of theater. Theater's origins can be traced back to ritualistic practices in ancient societies. In ancient Greece, theater was a civic and religious event. In Roman theater, inspired by Greek tradition, emphasizes spectacle and included adaptation of earlier work. So we have medieval period. Theater shifted toward religious themes. Mystery and morality plays were common, often performed in churches or town squares to convey biblical stories to largely illiterate, and adjacents. So we have the Renaissance, brought a revival of classical ideas and emergence of circular themes. In England, William Shakespeare elevated the art form with complex characters and poetic dialogue. The Italian Renaissance also saw the rise of commedia dell'arte, known for its improvisation and stock characters. In the modern era, theater became more diverse in style and subject matter. The 19th and 20th centuries introduced realism, absurdism, political theater, and experimental forms. Today, contemporary theater continues to evolve, incorporating multimedia, non-traditional spaces, and global influences. We have the elements of the theater. So the first one is the script and storytelling. Script and storytelling is the backbone of theatrical production. It contains the dialogue, character instructions, and stage directions. Storytelling in theater relies on conflict structures and themes that resonate with audiences, whether through traditional narratives or avant-garde experimentations. And of course, we have the actors and performance. So the actors interpret the script and bring characters to life through voice, movement, and emotional expression. Performance style can vary widely from naturalistic acting to stylized or abstract forms, depending on the play's intent and director's vision. And for the direction and staging, the director shapes the overall vision of the play, guiding actors, designing facing, and coordinating technical elements. Staging refers to how the play is presented spatially, including movement, blocking, and intentions with the audience, also the interactions with the audience. And we have the scenery, costumes, and the lighting. Visual elements such as design, costumes, and lighting establish the time, place, mood, and the tone. These components contribute to the immersive quality of theater and help convey meaning non-verbally. And for the last elements of the theater, we have the music and sound. Sound design and music enhance emotionally, in fact, signal transition and support storytelling, whether through live instruments, sound effects, or digital tracks. Auditory elements add another layer of the expression.
Good day everyone, I'm Joyce and Mallari. So today I will discuss the continuation of theater. So the next part is types and genres of theater. So theater includes various genres, each offering unique experiences. The first one is tragedy, explores serious themes and human flaws, often ending in downfall. The second one is comedy. The comedy uses humor to reflect society, usually with happy endings. Next is musical theater. Musical theater combines music, dance, and dialogue for emotional impact. And lastly is experimental theater. This breaks conventions to challenge um, audience expectations. Next is theater's role in society. The first one is cultural reflection. This mirrors societal values and issues. Next is education, informs and raises awareness on key topics. The third one is entertainment. This provides joy and emotional escape. Number four is community building, brings people together through shared experiences. And lastly is that therapy offers healing and emotional expression. Next is challenges facing theater today. Number one is falling attendance, competing with digital entertainment. Number two, financial strain, high costs, and limited funding. The third one is tech adaptation, need for digital and hybrid skills.
Next is audience relevance, attracting younger and diverse viewers. And lastly, censorship, navigating social and political limitations. In conclusion, theater remains a powerful and enduring form of artistic expression, rooted in centuries of storytelling and cultural tradition. Throughout this report, we've explored these historical significance, the various forms of genres it encompasses, and the many elements, performance, direction, design that come together to bring a production to life.
That sums up our discussion for the day. Thank you everyone for listening.